The following program is brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard. This is your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. So, Ken, as always, it is great to be with you. Welcome to the program.
Yes, thanks, Dave. And before we get started today, I just wanted to mention we had a great turnout this past weekend in Garden Grove. We would really like to thank all of the support and our new clients in areas that we do serve, and not limited to places such as Palos Verdes, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Laguna Niguel, Simi Valley, Thousand Oaks, and we even had new clients from Prescott Valley, Scottsdale, Goodyear, and Phoenix, Arizona travel all the way to Garden Grove. So
Wow.
Great to be here.
This has been a really interesting economic week. I mean, the stock market, it had some record highs and then it retreated a great deal. It's just all over the place. There is uncertainty in Congress over the president's $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill delay. And then there's the reemergence of COVID. Let's take those for just a moment briefly, one at a time. What do you make of what's been happening in the stock market over the past week or so?
Well, I mean, the stock market is controlled by the Western Central Bank. I mean, it's being propped up falsely by all of this fake money stimulus that's floating all around. It's a ticking time bomb, I feel. And like I've mentioned many times, if you are fortunate enough, Dave, to have whatever, through luck, through skill, through smarts, through good moves, whatever, to have made a lot of money in the stock market the last 10, 20 years, we are in another bubble. This bubble will pop just like it did in 2000. And not everybody has 30 years to wait out that next cycle. I would say to people out there, be very careful about the stock market.
We have talked in the past about the national debt, and we're looking at adding $3.5 trillion to the national debt with Biden's infrastructure bill. But now I'm seeing that there may very well be a delay in voting on it and putting it into law until at least the end of the year. How is that going to affect our economy?
Well, that's a problem. Our economy is toast without, free money stimulus and, abnormally low interest rates to inflate the bubble. So, what I would say is that our government right now doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy at all. The government is acting tyrannical, so to speak, in many of their ways of thinking, and leadership is questionable. Financial leadership through printing of money is awful. If they stop printing money, I think the economy and the stock market crash. If they continue to print a lot of money, the economy is false, it's fake, and our dollar is in trouble. So I think we're in a no-win situation. So sorry to tell you that, Dave.
And we have already seen the effect that COVID can have upon our economy, and it is increasing again. We're seeing a reemergence of COVID around the country. You use the word, our tyrannical government, and that kind of ties in to what I want to talk about today. Our topic is, well, it's a disturbing one, to be honest, the threat to financial privacy. You forwarded a note to me that you got from your credit union that really caused me to wonder if I will have any privacy left in the coming years. And I'm going to read a couple of excerpts and ask you to comment on them. First of all, the note says the United States Congress is considering a measure that would impact every financial institution and most taxpayers in the nation. As a part of a large domestic spending bill, that's the one we talked about, Congress wants to have financial institutions, including credit unions, report, listen to this, all transactional information about your spending habits to the Internal Revenue Service. Now, while their supposed intention is to go after those that cheat our tax system, this would potentially give the IRS new access to all of your account information. And then the note goes on to say, under this proposal, credit unions, banks, and other financial service providers would be required to annually report the total of funds flowing through your accounts, listen to this, including all deposits, payments, purchases, and transfers to other accounts outside of your primary account. Wow. What do you make of the possibility that the government could actually know everything about every financial transaction of yours, Ken?
Well, unfortunately, Dave, I strongly believe that that's their intention, and that's where we are headed. I feel it's outrageous. I feel violated. This is supposed to be the United States of America. I mean, we should have within the law our own responsibility to pay our due share of taxes, in a way that we feel fit within the law. But to have no financial privacy, no financial freedom whatsoever. I mean, the hourglass has tipped, folks. If you can't see the writing on the wall and where this is headed, where, a great reset, whatever that entails, I don't know what to tell you. People need to wake up, Dave. They need to understand that we are headed as a country in the wrong direction, and we are going to be left holding the bag. There's a very limited amount of time to be able to do something about your finances, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later.
You're listening to the Gold Standard from the Midas Gold Group. So, where then does the purchase of gold fit into this whole equation?
Well, if you think to yourself, how could I be somewhat private? How could I do some things that are within my right as an American to protect myself, my family, and my money? What could I do? Well, one easy thing to do is you can take a little bit of money out of the bank. You can take some money out of the markets, out of the stock market, out of government monitored investments, paper, government monitored investments. I mean, where do we think this is all headed? Of course, they want to know everything that we're doing. You can take some of that money, Dave, and you could move it out of the BIS system, the banking system, and you could move it into gold. You could hold on to it. You could store it. You could hold a portion of your wealth outside of the banking system. That is one thing that every American can do right now.
You're listening to the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group, and we're going to tell you as we go through the program today how you can indeed protect your wealth. In a moment, we're going to talk about our featured precious metal product of the week, and it's going to be very interesting. This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo.
Sebastian Gorka here. The Biden-Harris administration is governing through an unprecedented number of executive orders. We have a good idea of what their agenda means for the country and for your finances. More debt, more regulations, slower growth, and higher taxes. There's even talk of a digital wallet currency and a so-called Great Reset. With massive new spending programs, the Fed is printing money even faster than before. This will likely cause the dollar to fall and gold prices to rise. That's why it's never been more important to own physical gold and silver, and the dealer I trust to do business with is veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. The experts at Midas Gold can even help you convert a portion of your IRA into physical gold and silver to stabilize your portfolio against the coming storm. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. Oh, by the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. Midas, by the way, is spelled M-I-D-A-S. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. Now, for those of you listening in other cities, you can call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, it's time for one of my favorite portions of the program. We're talking about our featured precious metal product of the week. And this week, we have one that we have talked about before, but I want to talk about it again because it is a highly trusted gold coin. It's the gold Canadian maple leaf. Ken, would you give us a description of this, what I think is extremely beautiful coin?
Yeah, it really is, Dave. And once again, let's just mention how outrageous is it to think that the government would be able to see everything that goes inside of your bank account and everything that goes out of all of your bank accounts, basically knowing everything that you have. How outrageous is that? Okay. Now, the thing you have to say is, how could I protect myself now before all of this happens? And how could this banking proposal be inside of an infrastructure bill? To me, that sounds very sinister. So that's the premise. Now, what could you do about it? Well, if you're thinking about diversifying through wealth preservation, the gold Canadian maple leaf is a go-to. If you said, well, I don't know about gold, I don't know what to do, I don't know what kind of coins to do, I want to do something basic. Well, your answer is possibly do the gold Canadian maple leaf. And this is a 1 ounce coin, Dave. It's 24 karat gold, 99.99% purity. It comes from the Canadian Royal Mint, backed by the Canadian government. It has the iconic picture of the maple leaf on the back. It's a great coin. I mean, it's a very technology high level coin where there's a lot of DNA counterfeiting technology that the gold Canadian maple leaf contains. It's a little thicker, Dave, than the average coin because the diameter is a little smaller, but it's a great coin. I mean, and every time I look at it, I have a couple, and the purity of the Canadian mint is very high, if not the highest of all the different coins that are out there. I would say that the National Mint of Canada is, like I said, very high degree, highest quality that we get for our clients. It allows customers, Dave, to own coins and bars from a very prestigious government mint. They're authenticated. They have a lot of DNA technology to counterfeiters for their coins. It's a very great process. It's a great product. I would say to you, Dave, that the gold Canadian maple leaf represents one of the safest and most affordable ways to get wealth preservation and to start or add to your gold position. The gold maple leaf is a standard product.
It is an impressive gold coin, as I said earlier. How can our listeners talk with you about this gold coin? How can they do that?
Well, we have a nice bullion guide that clients are and prospects are welcome to get for free. They can call us and request that. They can do it by email. You can go to MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, and fill out a pop-up form and start the conversation. You know, it's easy, it's basic, it makes sense. And like I said, with the way the government is headed right now, and transparency, financial privacy disappearing, financial freedoms gone, the dollar falling, buying less in the future. Now's the time. I don't know what people are waiting for. Do something about it while you can.
Thank you, Ken. Coming up in just a moment, we are going to explore, listen to this, 7 reasons for buying gold, and this is a real eye-opener. You're listening to The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka here. Part of the so-called Great Reset from the multinational elite is to enact a digital wallet currency. Think of the implications. Time to create your own gold standard with a call to the dealer I do business with, veteran-owned Midas Gold Group, the America-first precious metals experts who can help you with IRAs and more. Get your portfolio reset with gold and silver. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
We continue now with The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or the Phoenix area, we encourage you to come and visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. We're talking with Ken Russo, Senior Vice President at Midas Gold Group. And so far today in our program, we've talked about the threat to financial privacy, and we've taken a look at the gold Canadian maple leaf coin. Now, in light of what we have heard about the threat to financial privacy, and with the financial markets plagued with uncertainty, I'd like to explore reasons for owning physical gold. I came across a list of several reasons recently, and Ken, I'd love to hear your take on these. First, physical gold is uncorrelated to stocks and bonds.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. And you got a little surprise for me this week. I like that. I wasn't expecting this, but yeah, I mean, at the beginning when stocks crash and bonds crash, obviously everything kind of gets thrown out, at the same time. So nothing is safe when things are crashing. But gold is typically uncorrelated to stocks and bonds over the long run. Anything can be manipulated in the short term, but gold, traditionally has held your buying power and hold your purchasing power even much better than stocks. Actually, according to the gold versus the Dow since the year 2000, 20 years ago, gold has outperformed the Dow by 60%. So if you believe that stocks are great, and we do believe there's many opportunities out there, but if you're looking for a private, investment that you could get through financial chaos, and like we've talked about many times, financial chaos is on its way, then gold is a mainstay and it's a necessary asset for many people to add to or own at this particular moment.
And as you just mentioned in my second point, as we've already talked about, it is an anonymous store of wealth.
Well, yeah, and like we're begging people with things that are going on right now. I mean, could I read this again? Biden tries to let the IRS poke around our bank accounts. I mean, how more obvious is that, Dave? So try and get some money out of the banking system and get some money out of the markets. If you've made a lot of money, God bless you. It's not going to last forever. The stock market is not going to last forever. The real estate market is not going to last forever. And the government is clear in their agenda. They want to know everything that you do. So what can you do? Move some money out, get it into gold. And as of right now, it's a private store of wealth. No one's going to tell anybody about your transaction. It's up to you to keep it safe. And in my opinion, that's one of the last assets that's still private, physical gold.
Okay, next is that gold is a safe haven asset.
Well, it is. I mean, like I said, Dave, many times with gold will get you through financial chaos and turmoil. And folks, financial, political, any kind of chaos that you think is possible, it's in our future. And it's coming fast and it's coming hard. And paper, I don't have a lot of trust in it. They're going to print it into oblivion, tens of trillions of dollars more. Biden can get the U.S. deficit to maybe 40 or 50 trillion over the next couple of years. And you need something that's a safe haven asset, meaning that it will always at least have some value. It will be there when you need it, and you can get to it when possibly we can't get to our other money, and that is a real concern. So yes, gold is definitely, Dave, physical gold, not paper gold. Physical gold is a safe haven asset.
I came across a term that I had never seen before. Tell us about this. There's something called no issuer risk.
Yeah, and they also, sometimes people may even hear the terminology third party risk. When you invest in a stock or when you invest in bonds or you invest in anything like annuity, anything that's paper, there's basically another company or another part of the equation that does give you as an investor risk. You could end up doing very poorly on that investment. Companies can go bankrupt. Look in 2008, Dave, during the financial crisis, how many companies were on the brink of bankruptcy, and it was only because of the government, bailing them out that they actually made it. And the next crash will be even worse. So To avoid that kind of undue risk, it's absolutely necessary that a portion of your investments do not have third-party risk. And to keep it simple, Dave, what could you hold on to privately, out of the banking system, in your own possession, and it'll be there when you need it. And it's also very liquid, and you could also do it in small increments. And the simple answer to that, folks, if you haven't been paying attention, is physical gold and silver, coins and bars, an absolute necessity in today's market, which is very risky.
A reminder here, you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo. We have talked before about the fact that physical gold is a hedge against inflation, but also that gold will always have value.
That's right. Gold will always have value, and gold typically does very well, Dave. And this is for people who follow inflation out there. If inflation is greater than short-term interest rates, gold does very well and goes up dramatically in price. And we saw this a lot in the 80s. Now, if you can tell me today, that inflation is greater than interest rates, which is a pretty obvious question, there should be a case made that the price of gold will do very well going forward. It will keep your buying power. It will hold your purchasing power. It's a way for you to combat and hedge inflation. And Dave, inflation is not temporary. It's not transitory. It's not going away. It's here to stay. It's going to get worse. Gold will fight that inflation.
And then lastly, but this is one of my favorites, you can actually see and touch your asset.
Absolutely, 100% extremely important. You cannot have all of your assets tied to the banking system. You cannot have all of your assets in paper. Real estate's great. You need a place to live, and real estate, although it's tough to sell sometimes, or maybe it's not that liquid. Your other investments, your liquid investments, the ones you monitor all the time, what's this doing? What's this doing? What's this doing? Cannot all be in paper. You need something that's tangible. When we do have a financial crisis, and we will, and when we do have financial chaos, people are going to go to tangible things like food, guns, and gold. Most of our clients, Dave, like food, guns, and gold. And I would tell you, the ability to hold some of your wealth during the next financial crisis is going to be extremely important. People need to take that very, very, very seriously.
Well, I have said it before, and it is still true. I am so thankful to have a part of my wealth in gold from Midas Gold Group. I feel that no matter what happens to our economy, no matter what happens with the value of the dollar because of unstable or alarming world events or runaway inflation, no matter how intrusive the government becomes, in my private financial affairs, I have the solid value of gold protecting my family.
Yeah, it'll be there for you and them when you need it, Dave. And don't be afraid to do some more. You know who to call.
That I do, and I will be. And that brings us to the end of our time together here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. A reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, the MidasGoldGroup.com. Oh, by the way, the Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thanks as always again for your time today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Dave.
I'm Dave Dino. Join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.